تصحيح امتحان البكالوريا لشعبة آداب وفلسفة اللغة الإنجليزية. Let's read the text first. Starting with the text, according to معهد UNESCO for statistics, there are 258 million children around the world with no access to education, 59 million at the primary level. وفقا لمعهد يونسكو للإحصائيات هنالك 258 مليون طفل في العالم لا يلتحقون بالتعليم. 59 million at the primary level alone، يعني 59 مليون فقط في المستوى الابتدائي. Poverty remains one of the greatest barriers to enrollment in education programs. For example, in rural and remote parts of Tanzania, Chacha, a 12-year-old boy, is forced into a life of work. He says, I have no choice. I know the work is dangerous, but I have to help provide for my family. What does it mean here? اليوم poverty الفقر يعتبر من أعظم أو من أهم الحواجز التي تمنع enrollment التحاق بتعليمي. For example مثلا in rural and remote parts، يعني في المناطق الريفية والنائية في تنزانيا، تشاتشا مكان it's a old boy يعني فتى في العمر 12 is forced into a life of work، يعني obligatoire عليه يخدم. Why? He says I have no choice. هو قال I have no choice. I know the work is dangerous. أعلم أن العمل خطير. But I have to help provide for my family. يعني يجب إعانة عائلتي. All children should be able to attend primary school, regardless of whether their parents can or can't pay for education. يعني جميع الأطفال في العالم should be able، من المفروض أنهم يستطيعوا الالتحاق بالمدارس الابتدائية regardless of يستطيعون أو لا يستطيعون pay يعني يدفعوا for their education. Pay, it means money here. In 2001, Tanzania implemented the primary education development program and eliminated the public schools fees to increase access to primary education. What does it mean? في عام 2001 تنزانيا طبقت the primary education development، يعني برنامج تطوير المدارس الابتدائية and eliminated public school fees to increase access to primary education، يعني ألغت رسوم الدفع للمؤسسات العمومية لزيادة الالتحاق بالمدارس التعليمية. And yet, the authorities are facing obstacles to achieve universal primary education there. ولكن the authorities السلطات are facing obstacles يواجهون بعض المشاكل. It's time to help ensure there are zero out of school children of the world. Every child deserves the right to quality education. أي طفل له الحق في التعليم. However, until that is impressed، يعني حتى يطبق هذا القانون إنه لكل طفل عنده الحق في التعليم، there will be no education for all، يعني لن يكون هنالك تعليم للجميع حتى يطبق حق التعليم لكل طفل. The text is a newspaper, an extract from a book, a letter يعني newspaper article إذا هو مقال صحفي في جريدة، an extract from a book يعني مستخرج من كتاب، or a letter رسالة. What do you think? رسالة أكيد راح يكون فيها dear for example المرسل والمرسل إليه the sender and the receiver. From the book it will be mentioned only the book، يعني تلقاه هنا في الأخير اسم الكتاب. But look here, adopted from Independent it's a newspaper، هذه جريدة. 4 December 2019. It's directly a newspaper يعني مباشرة it's a newspaper. That's the right answer. The next one, read the text and put the following ideas in order they appear in the text. يعني ضع هذه الأفكار بالترتيب، ترتيبهم في النص. Both rich and poor children should have access to education. الفقراء أو الأغنياء should have access to education يعني لحد من الحق التحاق بالتعليم. Here, despite the implementation of the special program, not all children go to Tanzania in school. يعني خاصة ليس جميع الأطفال التحقوا بالمدارس في تنزانيا. Everyone should be involved to ensure education for all. يعني الجميع يجب عليهم أن يتضامنوا to ensure education for all the countries يعني في مختلف البلدان. Poverty is an obstacle to education. الفقر هو العائق للتعليم. Let's look to the text. Going back to the text, what do you have? The first one, statistics يعني الإحصائيات. Then today, look here, poverty remains one of the greatest barriers. What do you think? It means that poverty is the main reason. يعني الفقر هو من أهم الأسباب اللي أدرسوها. هذه هي الأولى. Then moving to the text sentence, all children should be able to attend primary school regardless of whether their parents can or can't pay for their education. مش نفهم من هذه الجملة يعني جميع التلاميذ أو الأطفال يجب عليهم الالتحاق بالمدارس على غرار whether their parents يعني والديهم can or can't pay يعني للغني وللفقير both of them. So the next idea is A. هذه هي الثانية. Next idea is A. One and two. Despite the implementation of special program, not all children go to school in Tanzania. I think it's the third one. Why? Let's look here. Here, Tanzania implemented the primary education development program and eliminated يعني مباشرة هي بعدها. That's it. It's the same idea يعني نفس الفكرة. So here it is 3. And the last one أكيد راح تكون الرابعة. The sum up conclusion جاية في الأخير. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Next one here, answer the following questions according to the text يعني من النص. Do all children around the world attend school? Justify. قال لك هل جميع التلاميذ في العالم يلتحقون بالمدارس؟ Justify and برر. Here we have an auxiliary. لما تشوفوا السؤال يبدأ auxiliary do, does, have, has, should, are or is one of them. The answer yes or no. Now, do all children around the world attend school? Of course no. وعلى هذا النص أصلا هو يقدر على إنه مشكلة التلاميذ أو جميع الأطفال لا يلتحقون بالمدارس. So then, what do we say then? They, because children refers to they يعني نعوضهم they do. نعود نرجع نفس auxiliary they do not. Full stop. Why? When you have why or justify we say because of what? نقول النص نشوف كاين. There are 258 million children around the world with no access to education. هذه الجملة تعبر إنه وعلاه ليس جميع التلاميذ أو الأطفال لا يلتحقون بالمدارس. So this is the answer. Why is the 12-year-old boy forced to work? Why? لماذا? The answer of course will be because. We start with it. Let's say forced معناتها obligatoire or obligé to work. Text, look here, he says هذا الطفل اللي عمره 12 سنة. He says I have no choice. I know the work is dangerous but I have to help provide for my family. يعني provide for my family إعانة عائلتي. Because let's start with because he has to provide his family. That's next one. What did the Tanzanian government do to help poor attendant school؟ يعني وش دارت هنا تنزانيا government حكومة تنزانيا to help لكي تساعد the poor attend school يعني الفقراء لكي يلتحقوا بالمدارس. Let's take a look to this sentence. Tanzania implemented the primary education development program and eliminated public school fees to increase access to primary education. يعني الحكومة هنا طبقت ألغت جميع الرسوم التي يجب أن يدفعها الأطفال لكي يتعلموا بالتعليم. The next one here, find who or what the underlined words refer to in the text. يعني الكلمات المسطر عليها في النص على ماذا تعود أو for a person who or for object or thing what. He. Paragraph number 1 هذه معناتها paragraph 1. Going back to the text here. علاوة ترجع of course to a person شخص. Here a 12-year-old boy يعني ترجع لهذه 12-year-old boy فتى في 12 من عمره. That's why he says هو قال. So it refers to he. The refers to a group of course of people to attend school or primary school regardless of whether their parents هذه علاوة ترجع the children لأنه دائما ترجع لأشخاص ويكون group plural مجموعة. So there to all children. Here the same. Look here therefore it's a possessive adjective and here there it refers to place. And yet the authorities are facing obstacles to achieve universal primary education there هنالك في أي مكان in which place here it is in Tanzania. Text exploration here. Find in the text words or phrases that are opposite in meaning to يعني جد في النص كلمات أو جمل that are opposite ضد هذه الكلمات meaning في المعنى. Urban in paragraph 1. Urban معناتها مدني مدينة. In paragraph number 1, look here. Today poverty remains one of the greatest من أعظم barriers to enrollment in education programs. For example, in rural يعني المدن الريفية الريف rural. So this is the opposite. When they give you a noun, try to give them a noun. When they give you an adjective, the decrease معناتها ينخفض. Here we have to give the opposite يعني تشبهها تقريبا برك the difference in prefix هذا اللي يجي في قدام prefix. So in paragraph number 2 let's go back. All children Tanzania here implemented the primary education development program and eliminated public school fees to increase معناتها يزيد زيادة to increase. Here rejected يعني يرفض rejected. It's a verb here. Let's try to give a verb in paragraph 3. It's a quality education however until that is in class يعني حتى يطبق ذلك حتى يوثق ذلك. So the answer is class. Here what do you have? The next question. Divide the following words into rows and affixes يعني prefix السابق اللي يسبق الأصل الكلمة and rows هو أصل الكلمة. suffix هو الذي يلحقها يعني إضافات فقط. يمكن for example when we transfer from verb to noun act هو الverb. When we add it becomes action. It is a suffix. Enrollment it's a noun هذا اسم. enrollment التحاق يعني enroll this is the verb هذا الفعل. And when we add ment suffix it becomes enrollment اسم الالتحاق. So this is the root here, and this is suffix. Let's divide it. The next one, uneducated, adjective. Uneducated is the verb educate, هذا الفعل educate, and when we add prefix n تعطي العكس ضد, the opposite. Uneducated here refers to an adjective. So vocational, vocation مهنة, مهني يعني it's an adjective. So here vocation, this is the noun, هذا root, هذا أصل الكلمة, and when we add o it becomes an adjective. Suffix. So the prefix only maybe 2 letters or 3, يعني ما يفوتش 3 أو 4 حروف. The suffix is the same. Suffix دائما هو اللي يغير the noun from noun or from verb to noun to adjective، يعني هو اللي يغير لنا نوع الكلمة إذا كانت اسم أو فعل أو صفة. prefix opposite يعني يختص بتحويل الأبدان. Here rewrite sentences B, here B, these sentences, so that it means the same as sentence A. يعني راح نعودو نكتبو الجملة B ولكن بنفس المعنى لجملة A. Here the authorities should sensitize parents to the importance of education. Authorities had better يعني عندها نفس المعنى should. What do we say? Here should to give an advice, and had better يعني strong advice. After them يعني مباشرة الفعل راح يكون stem ما نصرفوش. had better and should they have the same use يعني عندهم نفس الاستعمال. راح تعودوا تكتبوا فقط نغيروا ياسر يعني راح تقعد نفس الجملة لأنه الفعل يبقى كما راه. After the auxiliaries or the modal verbs should sentence. Let's look to the next one. If everybody is involved in the field of education, there will be positive change. And here we have unless. Unless it turns the sentence into negative. يعني راح نحولوا هذه الجملة النفي. Unless إلا إذا. If it is positive يعني جملة شرطية ولكنها positive. If everybody is involved in the field of education. إذا كان الجميع يعني involved. Everybody is involved in the field مجال in the field of education تعليم كما there لن يكون there will not be لن يكون will not be or we can say won't there won't be نقدر نقول won't be won't be positive what change. So we are to next one here. The young boy succeeded in his studies although he was poor. لازم نفهموا معنى الجملة. The young boy الفتى الصغير succeeded نجح in his studies في دراساته although على الرغم he was poor على الرغم من أنه كان فقير. So here despite بدينا بها هي على غرار أو بالرغم despite being poor يعني على غرار أنه فقير. despite being poor the young الحين نبدأ بها the young boy succeeded in his studies عندها نفس المعنى the same meaning يعني على الرغم برك هذا النتيجة قد مسبب عن النتيجة despite being poor despite his poorness على الرغم من فقره the young boy succeeded in his studies or we can say despite the fact that the boy was poor but he succeeded ولكنه نجح. Here fill in the gaps with the word from the list given. يعني احنا نملأ الفراغات، املأ الفراغات باستعمال هذه الكلمات. There, here we said possessive adjectives refers to group of people يعني للجمع. There, most, it is superlative for the superlative adjectives. General بشكل عام. Invest. Here, most countries consider تعتبر أغلب الدول تعتبر education one of the important. مادام هنا كاينة صفة important and it is long adjective يعني منقدرش نقولو they're important. the ترجع لأشخاص. most important because it is adjective. one important areas of public life محطات في الحياة العامة. So here countries throw out the word, what do we say, large amounts of times يعني العدد كمية أو كبيرة من وقتهم. money المال and the other resources يطوروا في التعليم. here استثمروا invest يعني citizens يعني مواطنين. the school system of all modern nations provide both for their citizens. their citizen possessive adjective وترجع لجروب citizens مواطنين لمواطنيهم. their citizens. the school system of all modern nations provide both vocational education